Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we've got C63 in for an A service, which is pretty boring, and we are changing the injectors on the car. This is a really common part to fail and can cause an engine failure, so we're going to change them. That'll be the main part of the video. So we'll get the service done and then we'll move on to the injectors, and then we will explain more why we're changing them and why you should change them. Got to be really careful when you take them off, they're dead easy to break. So we've just done all our under bonnet checks, which we do on every service. So we check your coolant level, test it strong enough, which you can see that we did that. It also needed topping up a little bit. Power steering fluid level, again, that was low, so we topped that up. Screen wash. We had an inspection of the auxiliary belt, and the side of the belt's fraying a bit and the top of it's cracking, so that could do with some attention. We also tested brake fluid. That came up yellow, which is an advisory. Ideally needs replacing, so we'll advise that to the customer to be done. The tester works red, amber, green. Green being good, amber being advise, replace, red being 100% replace. On one of our last videos, we had a few comments saying that our oil buckets aren't very professional. Well, so be it. A lot of people don't drain the oil cooler on these cars, and you get about an extra half a litre out of it, so it's definitely worth doing. I don't know why people don't do it. So not a lot of people, the brake pipes run underneath this panel. So on a service, we just drop the panel down so we can have a look inside, so we can inspect the pipes, because they're really common for corroding and rotting out and you can't see them. So we just spend a bit of extra time to just inspect them and make sure it's safe. So we've just dropped the panel down so we can inspect all the pipes at the back, which are covered up, and they're in good condition, so good news for the customer. But if you've got one of these, it's well worth asking your garage to just pop this panel down and just have an inspection of it. Right, we've done a full inspection of the car, found a couple of issues, one being the suspension arm ball joint boot is separated from the ball joint, so that's letting grease out of the boot and getting water in, so that could do with being addressed. The anti-roll bar link boots are starting to crack a bit. They could probably just do with being inspected again on the next service. The rear headlamp level control linkage has snapped. So basically, when the car goes up a hill, headlights would point down and vice versa. So that is not working. So that needs addressing as well. So as you can see, we've just done the tyres, depths, pressures, and inspected the alloys for any cracking. And as you can see, if we had an oil drainer under there, we wouldn't be able to lower the car down to actually do that. So that's another reason we use buckets. We always use genuine Mercedes AMG oil filters. Before anyone says they don't make their own parts, you are correct. It's made by Hengst. Again, same with the oil. We always use genuine Mercedes oil to make sure you're getting the correct spec. A lot of aftermarket oils meet specification, but we want it approved specification. Good insurance as well, good warranty. Right, service is done, so we're now going to move on to the injectors, the good stuff. Get on with doing it, and we'll explain why we're doing it as we're doing it, and why it's important to get this job done. Regardless of age, mileage, or whatever you read on the internet, I'd highly recommend getting these done, and we'll explain as we go. Right, so far we've got all the air boxes off, intake pipe off, We've unbolted the rail, we've unplugged all the connections off the rail. I'm just going to use the hoover to suck out any bits that are around where the injectors go into the cylinder head, because we don't want anything to go in there. Keep it as clean as possible. Then we can take the rail off and show you what we're doing. It doesn't look the prettiest what I'm doing, but you can't get any leverage to get the rail out, so we've just put a bit of lubricating spray on the seals, just worked it in a bit, and then we're just gently, I'm just literally using 2 fingers to just slowly get the rail out. There we go, 1 rail. So straight away we need to take note of which seals have stuck in. It's got 2 there, so we need to make sure we get them out. So as I was just explaining, the seals at the bottom of the injectors were stuck in the hole, and there's also like a plastic, it's like a shelf really that keeps the seal on. That was stuck in there as well, so it's important to inspect all your injectors once you've removed them to make sure everything comes out. So that's how that would sit back together. Otherwise you could be in trouble when you're refitting your new ones. So we've now got the rail out of the car. So the reason we're replacing these injectors, even though there's nothing wrong with them, is because they are well known for sticking open. For those of you that don't know what an injector is, it squirts tiny bits of fuel into the engine and ignites. So when the injector sticks open, it's literally like a tap, and it just floods fuel into the engine. And when the piston comes up, it can't compress the fuel, and it basically just explodes your engine. I've got an example of an engine I replaced on a previous car because of this, and that's what happened to the piston. Big crack down the side, big hole in the top, where basically the piston's been pounding away at the valve, all because of that. These are about 40–50 pounds each. There's obviously 8 of them, and replacing them could save you potentially a £10,000 engine. A second-hand engine will cost you anything from 3,000 to 6,000 depending on condition, plus whatever extras you got to change before you fit it back in the car. You know, you could be looking at a £10,000 bill. I've not seen a pattern with when these fail, age or mileage. I've seen them fail at high mileage, I've seen them fail at low mileage. There's no pattern to it. So my advice would be, if you've got no history of having these replaced on an M156 engine, just get them done, because you don't want that to happen. It's unfortunate for you that you've got to listen to it all again. I was just explaining to Harris, who's behind the camera, who I should have introduced at the beginning, to be honest. Sorry, mate. We've got help today. That the first time I come across this problem, it must have been a good 10 years ago, something like that. It was a C63 AMG, and it happened. The car got recovered to me, and I took the spark plugs out of the car, cranked the engine over by hand, pumped all the fuel out, contacted the customer to tell him what had happened, did a compression test. Compression test was good, so by some miracle, which I've seen a few times, the engine was undamaged. Obviously, we always replace a set. The customer only wanted the one that had failed replacing, even though he'd got away with not replacing an engine, which makes no sense to me. So replace the whole set, don't mess about. You can buy them on my website. There we go. It's not really clean, that, is it? So we're just cleaning, just got some swabs, and we're just cleaning out the hole where the injector sits in, so we're not pushing any dirt in when we push them back in. You can see that was, I've only done 2 with that. Make sure it's all nice and clean, and then we can get it back together. Right, so that's all the injectors swapped over. Everything nice and clean. Bit of lube on the end to make it go in easier, because he showed us struggle we had getting it out. What are you laughing at? Right, that's the injectors done. We're just going to give the ignition a couple of primes because we want to prime the injector rail. It might take a little longer than normal to start, but that's normal. Make sure we've got no leaks. Then we can finish putting it all back together, give the engine bay a good clean, road test it, and then get it back to the customer. Go for this one. Straight. So that's all the work done. As always, we're just going to give it a quick wipe down with some toolbox cleaning products to make it look cleaner than it came in. So I hope everyone enjoyed that. I've been off for a while, I've been ill, so there's not been any videos for a few weeks, and we've got some help in getting a video done, so the editing and the quality should be a lot better than normal. So let us know what you think in the comments. As I explained earlier, there's no pattern to when these injectors are going to fail: high mileage, low mileage, age. I can't get a pattern to it. I've seen it super low mileage, I've seen it super high mileage. Don't run the risk of blowing your engine up and needing a new one. I'd highly recommend getting it done. The cost is about £500-ish to get them replaced. Well worth it. It's 500 quid or 10 grand, yeah, whichever you prefer. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let us know what you think of the video in the comments, because it is going to be different to normal, because we've had help doing it. So hopefully we can get more done. Should I double check with Paul how much it actually? Yeah, we've just been in the office and checked to make sure I'm not wrong. We charge £588 for that job. You're going to pay similar money anywhere you go. You can buy the injectors direct from our website. You can probably get them cheaper elsewhere if you wanted, but we do sell them if you want some. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hopefully we'll get the momentum going again with the videos, and we'll see you on the next one.